Oh, good. The camera's working. I really hadn't checked that this morning, so I'm glad to see that. Welcome to the show today, everybody. Thanks for joining us on K-ROG. I hear, as always, we are Monday morning with Roy Rickstrew, the disability guru. How you been?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Better than I deserve, so that's always good. Did a little shotgunning this weekend with Project Hope. Went out and had a terrible day. I will not disclose my score. It was that embarrassing. It wasn't good, but it was a fun day and beautiful to be outside in the Ozarks this weekend with the trees were all showing off their fall colors quite well. And if you didn't get out this weekend and see them, you probably missed it. This was the weekend.
Yes, they are beautiful, that's for sure. I was at the Rogersville Festival this weekend.
Yeah.
We had a booth over there. Thanks to everybody who came out and said hi. I appreciate that. I ran into a few folks that watched K-ROG. Had seen my show, so
awesome.
That was exciting too.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
Whoever it is, thank you.
Yeah, feel free to jump in here and give us a comment if you want to know something or have something you want Roy to chat about a little bit. But you had an interesting idea this morning because it's deer season coming up, so you have thoughts about that, and I'm interested which way you're going to go. I can see two different ways, but the lawyer in me has a grave concern. So. What's your thoughts?
I'm afraid I'm the Debbie Downer this time, Will.
I was afraid you might be, but let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah, so it is that time of year, and everyone gets excited about deer season. And I love to shoot. I don't hunt, but I love to shoot. So make sure everybody understands I'm not anti-hunting or anti-gun or anything of that nature, because couldn't be further from the truth.
Well, you wouldn't be on the show if you were, because we don't allow people like that to. Anyway, continue.
But the thing is, we see a lot of times in medical records that folks are out deer hunting, and we got to kind of keep in mind when we look at this through the lens of Social Security. Obviously, it's pretty physically exertion-wise to go out and hunt. I mean, it's pretty physically exhausting for some folks. I know here in Missouri, there's a lot of tree stands and a lot of leaning against hay bales and type stuff. Folks who hunt out west a lot of times do a lot of climbing and hiking and that sort of thing. But you're still on uneven surfaces, irregular ground. You're still out in the environment, cold weather, rain, humidity, those sorts of things.
Walking while carrying equipment.
That's true. And so, if we have a COPD case, for example, with folks that are short of breath, it doesn't always jive with us being out in the woods and hunting or handling the environmental exposure. And then on the psychological side, too, if we're going to make the argument that you have poor attention and poor concentration, that doesn't really jive with,
handling firearms.
True, or scanning the woods, looking for the slightest movement.
True,
that sort of thing. So, we don't really think about hunting as demonstrating the ability that we have as far as, worker type activities, but to a large extent it does.
Oh yeah, that's good advice for folks, especially around here. So, and I guess that goes for either, if you have a pending disability case or if you are currently receiving disability, that would come at a review.
It very well could. Now, bear in mind, it usually shows itself in the medical records when we trip and fall or hurt ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
And, the folks that are filing for disability probably has a whole bunch of family that's saying, hey, this isn't a good idea. You probably ought to give this up. So I'm not here to lecture folks about giving up their hunting.
Right.
But it is important that we kind of look at how it plays.
Well, I guess that kind of begs the other question. Your doctor sometimes, especially on those well visits or whatever they call them now, ask what seem to be a lot of innocuous questions. And the answers to those might find their way into your... it could be as simple as, hey, Roy, how you doing today? You hunting this year? You get out there? And it sounds like just kind of a social friendly conversation, and then all of a sudden something like that shows up in medical records.
That's right. That's right. And then we're not just picking on the deer hunters today.
Right.
Also it pops up when people go fishing too. And what I always tell folks is there's a degree of that activity, if you will. Right. There are folks who go fishing and walk the banks at the river. And, that's hard work. Yeah. And then there are folks who go and set at the handicap dock and fish. Yeah. Both of those are fishing. There's handicap hunting areas for deer hunting as well. I have a neighbor that has a storage building set up on his farm. It's got propane heat. It's got see-through windows. He sits in there in a comfortable chair.
As opposed to non-see-through windows?
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I also have a friend who literally sits on his couch in his living room, and he waits for the deer to walk through his yard.
Yeah.
So there's a varying degree of what this activity looks like.
Yeah.
Fishing falls in the same boat. Another thing.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
You're on a roll today, man.
Yeah. Another thing we're kind of out of the season for, but pops up in records a lot of times, is mushroom hunting.
Really?
Especially around here. A lot of people trip over logs in the spring.
Well, that's
when they're
true.
Out chasing the mushrooms. So it's just important that we kind of look at how those things play. And it's like you said, simple, friendly banter with your doctor ends up getting put in your medical records. And then somewhere along the way, we have a judge or an adjudicator at Social Security saying, well, how bad is that knee if we're out stumbling around the woods?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. If you have questions for Roy about this or any other topic related to disability, give him a call at 417-882-1800. If you call this morning, you can see him this afternoon, or go to his website, yourdisabilityrep.com. Lots of videos on there of information. You can look through that, see if you just want to, from the privacy of your own home, research that information yourself before you make the phone call. You're welcome to do that. And as always, join us on Mondays for updates from Roy Rickstrew, the Disability Guru. We'll
Thanks, guys.
see you next week.